All of our distinguished guest speakers, partners, teachers, students to our webinar tonight. And I am Nguyễn Minh Hoàn from Junior Star, and it's my great honor to accompany you all tonight. So the main focus of our webinar tonight is the special sharing from our esteemed speaker, Mr. Marc Kramer, on the topic from revolution to renaissance, uncertainty unbound, creating tomorrow, entrepreneurship in an age of change. Actually, it's a part of Junior Star Business Club's webinars designed to provide a practical foundation for our students preparing for the All-Star Business Forum for taking place from the 6th to 11th of February 2026 in Xiamen. So, yeah. This is actually as our about the Junior Star Business Club. It is a student-led organization guided by Junior Star, and our club aims to empower high school students through academic enrichment, real-world business exposure, and high-level skill-building workshops. So yeah, inspired by the fact that many of our students are or aspire to become leaders in the clubs or the classrooms or in the competitions. So now they're stepping into more advanced academic and global challenges such as All-Star Forum 2026. So we are honored to welcome Professor Marc Kramer to share his insights today. So Professor Marc Kramer is a senior lecturer of entrepreneurship at Wien University, and he's also a former faculty member of Wharton Business School, University of Pennsylvania, a serial entrepreneur who has founded over 28 companies, is also a pioneer in the global angel investment ecosystem. So with decades of experience spanning entrepreneurship, investment, and economic strategy. So I believe that his sharing today will not only broaden the academic perspective, but also helps our students connect theory with practice through concrete competition-related case studies. So now I won't let you wait any longer. So let's explore how future economies are shaped. So not by stability alone, but by vision, adaptability, and bold thinking. So let's welcome Professor Marc Kramer. Give the stage to you. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's such a pleasure to be a part of this evening with all of you, and I'm excited to interact with you. And so, right now we're living among the most interesting time in the history of the world. It is exciting both in terms of opportunity because now technology has made it cheaper and faster to start any idea that you have than any other time in history. That you could have 2.5 million dong and create a multi-million-dollar company. So I think it's a very exciting time for that. But it's also, as I tell my students, that it is also the most challenging time because now you're not just competing against people around the world, you're also competing against the machine. And if you're smart and you're capable, you can leverage the machine to do great things for you. So today we're going to talk about how entrepreneurs are revolutionary and that right now is the perfect time to be an entrepreneur at this given time because your generation, and I'm assuming most of you are people under the age of 25 who are listening to this, you have the ability to go and change the world in a positive way that past generations have kind of skipped on. And when I say that is that you're concerned about not just making money, but making the world a safer and more inhabitable place to live and work, and that you're interested in democratizing new technology and creating opportunity for everyone to make sure no one is left out if they want to work hard and make a difference. So I'm so proud to be a part of this tonight and to interact with all of you. And I want to tell you that if you have ideas and you want to share them with me and for me to give you some feedback on it, I welcome the opportunity to do that. So we're living in an age of rapid disruption, and we see it every day because companies that were once powerhouses no longer exist because of the rapid state of change. And who's making this change? It's people with vision. You know, there have been companies like Sears in the United States, which was the biggest retailer in the world, and they had a catalog that was over 100 years old, and they were way ahead of Amazon in developing this catalog. And they were the biggest retailer, and they were way ahead of Walmart. And they created a credit card called Discover Card. And all the things that they were global leaders in, it disappeared overnight as non-visionary leaders took over those companies and played it safe and didn't try to go and push themselves to the next level. And that's why all of you are listening to this tonight, because you're people with vision, that you are worried about climate change, you're worried about geopolitics, you're worried about social shifts that we're seeing in the United States and Iran and other places. You want to be a part of being global citizens and change everything for for a positive experience for everybody around the world. So, what does revolution mean? It means disrupting systems and such as like ride sharing platforms like we have Grab in Vietnam and Uber in the United States. I have to tell you that when Uber started, it was amazing that the taxi companies just watched them take over. That the taxi companies still operated where you either called the cab company and asked them to send a cab, or you had to wait on the street until you saw a taxi and then wave them over. And you wonder, how do companies who are long established, have huge roots, end up being overtaken by entrepreneurial revolutionaries? And that's because they lack vision and they lack the ability to take risk, and they're comfortable with what they have. So revolution requires people to have a bigger vision and for people to see that the way things are now is not good enough, that we need to go and make change. And the renaissance that we see with companies are ones that want to build purpose. Patagonia has rebuilt the outdoor apparel market by embedding sustainability and repair environmental responsibility. And they invest a lot of the profits they make back into the environmental ecosystem and think that's important, and that's what they stand for. And that's why they're a very powerful global brand. They're not just trying to sell clothing, they're trying to go and sell people on a different view of the world, about the world, what the world can be compared to what it is right now. For those of you who live in Hanoi, Vietnam, you know that pollution has been out of control for a long time, but now the government is worried more and more about this because it's it's hurting future development of ideas, because the best and brightest can't work in Hanoi because the pollution is suffocating, and they're looking for other places. So realizing that government leaders are now making changes such as that nobody can be driving gas cars and motorbikes starting in July into Hanoi, because they need to lower the pollution index in order to attract entrepreneurs and great companies. So now governments and individuals who are starting companies are realizing that you can't just have the purpose of making money. The purpose has got to be for creating a better life for everyone. And the path forward is entrepreneurs today must look beyond just disruption to make money. They need to be able to create regeneration and long-term value creation, not, as I mentioned, just economically, but in an environmentally safe way. Your generation is worried about that. I teach the biggest class at Vin University called Agile Innovation. And sustainability is at the top of the list of all of my students. That when they come up with product ideas, as one of our students came up with an idea of putting tiles in hotels and malls, that when people walk, it generates energy as opposed to using the electrical grid. And we see this all the time with young people looking about how do we fix the mistakes our parents have made and allow them to go on. I see a hand is raised here. And so maybe if you all could type your questions into chat, I can definitely look at chat and see what questions that you might have. And I'm glad to answer any question as you come up with them. So if you have a question, just type it into chat and I will look at it. Okay, I don't see the question in chat yet. So understanding uncertainty, Airbnb repeats had repeated shocks from COVID, where the travel bans and regulatory changes, because cities, especially cities like New York, Chicago, the hotels were pushing back against Airbnb because Airbnb was able to undercut them. And a lot of travelers chose to go Airbnb. I know I did. I prefer Airbnb over a hotel at any time. But Airbnb faced both legislative changes that were going on and also what was happening with COVID, and they had to make adjustments to their business model in order to be successful. Today, Tesla has ongoing uncertainty, not just because of supply chain, but mostly for government policies. In the United States, there used to be a tax incentive to buy electric cars, but now they've given that away, and it's no longer happening. And now China is building less expensive cars than Tesla, and the cars that people actually want. I hear my friends all the time saying that they hope these Chinese cars will be offered in the United States. So Tesla now has competition from lower price competitors. They now have the fact that they can't find that they can't participate in government subsidies or tax incentives for their products. I see here there are a couple of questions, and I will look to answer those questions as we're going along here. So one question is, but producing materials can be unhealthy for the environment. What can we do? Because what we call green energy is not very green at all. Making solar panels pollute the earth a lot. You know, if I think you're making a statement, but if you're asking for my response to that, yes, that may be true about the materials that do that. And even with AI, there's going to be enormous amounts of electricity being used by AI. And is that really good for us to use that? But the solar panels make up for whatever investment is made. And people are getting smarter. Young people who are at MIT, American Technion, my university, Vin University, Caltech, all these amazing schools around the world are developing materials that are environmentally safe for the community and are using that to create solar power and other things. I think with each generation, they're building on top of the next one. So even though we all have this concern about how solar panels are made, it's a step in the right direction. And you're going to go and have technology being developed using old methods that may not be good for the environment, but with each new generation, they're able to get it to the next level, and eventually you see that it will be environmentally safe. So I have a great confidence in all of you that you will find remedies to these problems. How to do research and write an economics essay. So I think the research can be done a few different ways, and you would have to be more exact about economics essay because is it focused on healthcare? Is it focused on sustainability? Whatever that may be. But if you're talking about doing the research, one of the best things, of course, is talk to experts in the field and interview people that are affected by it and doing surveys and other research. This is augmented, of course, by the information that you're able to pick up on AI and AI even being able to help you formulate the right questions and give you a list of the right people to talk to. So if I were doing a research paper, I would pick out what's the focus of the economic paper I'm developing. Is it a focus on how to create jobs during the AI era, which is what the hackathon I just did for my 780 students at Vin Uni? Is it about how to lower healthcare costs? Because in the United States, healthcare costs are so outrageous that 50% of Americans end up being bankrupted by the fact that they can't afford uh, the health care that everybody kind of takes for granted. So if you're talking about those things, that would definitely be worthwhile to go and focus on. So Shopify and Netflix. Netflix continues to experiment with content pricing and global expansion. When you think about the amount of entertainment you get for the money from Netflix, it's really incredibly impressive because to go to a movie in Vietnam compared to the US is very inexpensive, $5. And if you look at what it costs in the United States to see a movie, which is between $15 and $20, you get an unlimited supply of entertainment for around $12 USD. And Netflix has made it to the point that the movie industry, movie theaters, have taken an enormous hit and they're almost dying because between big flat screen TVs and the multitude of not just movies from Netflix, but also from other platforms, it has made it where people prefer to stay at home and entertain and have a small group of friends. So Netflix has made that change. And Shopify is very much like Amazon in the United States. And they've created a flexible platform that allows merchants to go and sell things to the masses very quickly that you don't have to go and build up a group of buyers because they're already there. And if you have a product that people are looking for, you're going to be you're going to be exposed to the people that are looking at those products. Zoom, that's one of my favorite stories of all time. In a period of uncertainty, they create unmet needs that were happening before. The founder of Zoom actually created the platform for Cisco systems, and now nobody talks about Cisco and their video system because he had went to them and said, you know, I could create something new for us that the masses could use. And they go, why would we want to create something different than what you already built? We're fine with the corporate clients that we have. But the founder of Zoom said corporate clients can use this and they can do it anywhere. And if people want to work from home, they won't need our equipment to do it, but we can still supply it and we can still get revenue from them being subscribers to it. And Cisco turned him away and said, go do it if you want to. And now he's built a company, it's worth over $10 billion. dollars. And who doesn't know Zoom? Everybody knows Zoom like they know Google, like they know Facebook, that it's a brand that everybody knows. Grab is a brand that everybody knows in Southeast Asia. And so Airbnb, and look what Gojek was able to do. They were able to help workers that were struggling by creating a platform that really took care of them and opened up more opportunities for them so that they weren't dependent on being able to go and get clients themselves, but which is the same beauty that Uber has, that in the United States, Uber and other platforms like it allow people to be in business for themselves, not have to worry about getting clients because the clients are sent to them, but they have their own control over their own destiny. And that was revolutionary because people could take their own car and be in business in the same day that they decided that they wanted to be a part of that ride hailing solution, ride hailing revolution that has happened. So adopting without losing essence, Patagonia has done it with their business model by expanding to e-commerce and launching repair and resale programs for products they already have. I even see here that one of our students at Vin University, she was taking gowns that were just sitting in the closet and taking those gowns and creating an online service where girls didn't have to worry about buying a new gown for every major event they went to. They could go and rent those gowns. And we have Rent the Runway in the United States, but she created it here. And now she makes 5,000 USD a month because she took something that wasn't happening here and created a service that people really, girls really liked because they were able to go and get these quality gowns but at a very inexpensive price because they were just running them out. And Microsoft radically adopted this software licensing company to a cloud first and AI driven platform business. And with a strong ethical and social responsibility framework, especially under this new CEO that I'm forgetting his name now, but since he took over 5 years ago, Microsoft 5 years ago under Steve Ballmer was considered a company that wasn't very moral, wasn't very ethical, and wasn't at all visionary. Now, Microsoft is one of the three most valuable companies in the world. Young people want to work for them. They are very much in promoting AI and AI in a positive way that will create jobs, that will help mankind, that it won't put additional stress on people wondering when you graduate college, will you have opportunities to go to? They're invested heavily in accessibility, sustainability, and they worry about carbon negativity goals. They want to make sure that they make a positive impact on the planet because that also helps them be successful for the long term. So here are some folks that have really made a difference, and you can be those folks as well. Here are two that I list here, and we know the stories about Gojek, and I'm sure you've heard of Tokopedia, but I wanted to mention someone else. Her name is Yasmin Mustafa. And Yasmin was originally Palestinian, then her family moved to Kuwait, and she was a refugee, and her family were refugees. They moved to the United States, and she had started a company called Roar for Good. Now, what does Roar for Good do? She traveled throughout Central and America and Latin and South America and found that women were being attacked and there was no way for them to signal for help. So she created a pin that women could wear either on themselves or around their neck, and they could push a button and it would alert people, all their friends, that they were in trouble in exact location. And she started this in order to save women and so they could be protected. And fathers bought this product, and 37,000 fathers in the first month and a half bought this product, but the girls didn't like wearing it. They thought it was ugly. And so she transitioned to hotels where maids often get attacked by male customers. And then the pandemic hit, and she adjusted again, and she focused on people who were at risk, like police, fire, social workers, psychologists, and a variety of first responders. And she created a service that allows people to be protected 24/7 at any given time. It has been so successful that she went from wondering if she could survive, and she's been doing this now for 10 years, to growing a business that raised $15 million, have 50 employees, and is growing very, very rapidly. So here was somebody that wanted to change and be a revolutionary in terms of how do we protect women on a 24/7 basis, no matter if they're women just walking down the street or if they're women working in high risk fields. Common entrepreneurial dilemmas that people go through, and I think your generation is getting much better at it. It's rapid market expansion are the pros, increased revenue, visibility, competitive advantage. But the cons are mission drift, employee burnout, because people are working 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. Your generation wants work-life balance. Very hard to do in an entrepreneurial environment because you have only a certain amount of money, and the competition is no longer local, national, it's international, it's everyday competition. So growth versus responsibility to your employees, and growth also responsibility to any investors that you might have. Speed versus quality, getting to the market quickly and launching before your product is actually fully ready to go. But at the same time, you know that if you keep waiting until it's perfect, you'll miss your opportunity. So, of course, you're worried about product defects and brand damage, because if you launch too soon and it doesn't work, then people talk about it and it can be killed. But still, you have to think to yourself, do we have a good enough product that we can launch right now and get it out there in order for people to test it and use it? And it's good enough that we can keep fixing it on the fly. Many companies like Microsoft and Cisco Systems and others launched products before they were ready, knowing that people would actually help them by giving them feedback and suggesting ways to go and fix them. They didn't wait till they were perfect. That's what you have to do as an entrepreneur. So there's always the question of speed over quality, profit over purpose. Patagonia, they want to be profitable. And listen, you cannot be a successful company and make a difference in society if you can't be profitable. So profits gotta come first, but at the same time, you have to be thinking of ways that you're contributing in a positive way to society, because people are looking to buy things from people who are making a difference. It's really important to people that they'll spend the extra money on a product or service that they think supports the community as a whole. And of course, technology versus humanity. Biggest thing we're worried about now is, and I hear this from my students and their parents, how much of AI will affect my future in being able to be a successful professional and being able to take care of myself. And the companies that aren't focused on how to help employees adjust and cross over to positions where they can use AI, but they don't lose their position. Because if we wipe out whole sectors, who's going to buy the products? How are these companies going to be profitable if if we're relying on robots and AI to do the work? Who's actually going to be able to earn a living to go and spend money into the economy? Jack Ma has done an amazing job in China of creating opportunity for people with no money whatsoever. They have a little bit and they can become selling on Alibaba whatever products and services they can go and develop, and helps bring buyers to them. So Jack Ma started out as a school teacher, and using that background of being able to educate people, he's educated now generations of people, realizing that they can have a full or part-time business and be able to be self-supporting without having to worry about whether someone has control over their professional and financial future. Microsoft has become very responsible when it comes to AI. They've developed and deployed AI systems guided by responsible AI principles, where they are focus not on reducing headcount, but how do we make our people in the organization be more efficient so they can work on new ideas and create new products and services. A lot of time is wasted doing mundane tasks. We have two entrepreneurs that came out of Vinton University that started a company called MindPal, which they use AI to make people's administrative tasks more efficient. In 2.5 years that they've been in business, and they're only 23 and 22 years old, there are 20,000 millionaires in Vietnam. They are now cash millionaires, and they have 47,000 customers globally around the world and growing with doing no advertising whatsoever. And then there's Fanuc for collaborative robots in Japan that's not trying to take the job of people, but make it easier for people to do their job so there's less injury on the job and there's more time to be able to explore not only ideas, but have time to spend with family. So robots can be used to go and take over dangerous positions so that people can be more safe. And they also, robots are able to go and allow people to see things in a different way, that they're able to go and envision new products and services that can be offered. And that's not just people with computer science and engineering degrees. It's now allowing lay people to be able to type in their ideas and be able to do programming or come up with engineering um, uh, pictures of what things could possibly look like. So there's future ready venture ideas, and what's a future venture ready idea? What we see in healthcare, one of the great things that's come out of healthcare that was used during the pandemic is telehealth. And really, telehealth has been around, but it really exploded during the pandemic because people have a hard time getting the time to go to see a doctor, and it makes doctors much more efficient to do telehealth, and especially in rural areas where they have doctors have to fly in and spend a week at a developing a country clinic. And so now, because of telehealth, people who are in remote areas are able to get the same quality of healthcare no matter where they're at because of telehealth. Education has now been able to help people in rural areas have the same quality of education the people in urban areas going to the best schools have. One of the co-founders of MindPal that I mentioned before, she lived in a rural area. Her parents didn't have much money. She couldn't go to an English language learning school. And so she went to the library, taught herself programming, created a program to teach herself English. And now you would never know that she didn't go to school in America, Australia, England, because her English is perfect. And what happened? She taught herself programming skills and created a program to teach herself English. So that is a great story that reminds us all that if in fact that the tools are out there to go and make up for anything that we weren't able to get before, we're now able to offer any of these things to anybody, anywhere. Food and agriculture. Um, Now, because of hydroponic farming, things that might have taken over 2,000 acres to go do, or 2,000 hectares, depending on how you look at the space for farming. Now you can take 10% of that footprint and create the same amount of food for people. So there's no reason for people to go hungry. And at the same time, these applications these AI applications can help farmers better manage their land, also get a better price for their crops, because it turns out farmers in the scheme of things, in the process of going from the farm to the table, they make the least amount of money, even though they're ones providing the product itself. So because of technology, they're able to now start to get better pricing for their products without it actually hurting the consumer having to pay more. And financial services, uh, what's become much better is not having to be able to carry money, using QR codes to go and do it. Financial literacy has greatly improved because it costs next to nothing for people to have their cell phones, be able to go online and go to YouTube or go to online platforms and learn about managing money or creating new businesses or creating financial spreadsheets. So financial services, both from an education level and from being able to use digital wallets and QR codes and ability to buy and sell stocks and bonds and other things and cryptocurrency, all because the technology has grown to the point that we can do anything, anywhere, anytime, 24/7. And over urban mobility and infrastructure, now we can live and work anywhere we want. I have been not only teaching at Vin University, but I got clients all over the United States that because of the internet, I'm able to go and meet with them and develop business plans, operating plans, marketing plans, uh, financial formulas for them to work on their businesses. Uh, this has all become because of the internet's growth and the ability to be able to speak real time to people and be able to access AI for research and development of new products, services, and plans that we develop. The role of AI and technology, of course, doctors are using this by putting in symptoms of people and getting more accurate diagnosis, or actually even taking pictures of people, whatever issues they have, and having AI do the diagnosis or confirm the diagnosis for them. And then there's all kinds of creative industries, especially in the gaming area, and visualizations and simulations that are done through AI that are creating all new products and services and revenue streams for people. Business consulting. It's changed the way McKinsey and other global consulting firms are working because now people are saying, I don't need people out of college just to do research for me because I can do that myself. What I'm looking for now is people to interpret the research and allow us to be able to take that research quicker, better, and develop new products and services and create all new markets for things. And so now consulting firms can focus on being able to interpret it, not just collect the information or find the information, but be able to focus on how do you use it in a constructive way in order to make your company or individuals more competitive. And of course, manufacturing and engineering, human robot collaboration is both more cost effective and safer for humans to go and do it. And now, maybe instead of humans being on the shop floor, they're actually operating the robots from a safe distance, and no one is getting injured. And we're also not losing jobs, but we're becoming definitely more efficient. Here I mentioned entrepreneurs as Renaissance leaders. Um, Mr. Sun from SoftBank, he's been investing in startup companies from around the world for the past 30 years. And a lot of the great revolution in entrepreneurship, especially in Asia, is due to the fact that he believed in these companies and encouraged them to go and take the risk because he's told culture, especially in Southeast Asia, where people were very risk adverse, that yes, there's great opportunity, that if you have a vision that you should go after it. And that's the kind of encouragement that you need. Tony Fernandez with Air Asia in Malaysia, he's built one of the most successful low-cost airline carriers in the world. These people had a vision for what could be better, what could be more cost efficient, what could open up travel to the masses. We have Spirit Airlines in the United States and Frontier Airlines, but these low cost airlines allow people who don't make a lot of money the opportunity to see the world and themselves experience things that allow them to come up with new ideas and create potential business streams. I myself have created multiple businesses based on just observations traveling to different countries or reading magazines or listening to podcasts and hearing all that. So, Renaissance leaders are good listeners. They're people that are constantly visiting other cultures and seeing how other people are doing it and knowing that there's no one place on earth. I know Americans, as an American, we think we are the most creative, smartest people, but I can tell you from visiting 40 different countries that all of them I learned different things about how they develop their people. I spoke in Armenia this past summer, and in Armenia, they start in elementary school teaching kids about how to play chess in order to develop their strategic capability. And Armenia is a very successful country with a very high standard of living. And Armenians are known for their creativity, especially in business. So, what problem truly matters to any of you? So, I'd be interested to hear from any of you, and especially if you have questions, of what problems do you think really matter, what needs to be solved, and how do you think that you might solve them, especially after seeing other leaders that we talked about in this presentation, how they had a vision and went after it. And if you don't take the risk, and I tell my students all the time, there's no downside to getting off your couch and trying something new. If it fails, it's okay. But if you're successful, then you're going to help a lot of other people. And what they found in Silicon Valley since the 1950s is that when you help other people become rich, they either start new companies and create additional wealth, or they invest in new companies and create additional wealth. And that only happens if we create a bigger entrepreneurial ecosystem, especially here in Vietnam. I'm looking to launch a unicorn launch pad because we only have four unicorn companies. That means startup companies worth $1 billion, where Singapore has 34, and they're 5% the size of Vietnam, and Israel is 10% the size of Vietnam, and they have 150 unicorn companies. So I encourage all of you to be revolutionaries. I encourage you to attack the problems that society and the environment have and take us to the next level. So does anybody have any questions for me? Any questions at all that I can answer for you? And by the way, there's no reason not to be an entrepreneur today. I created the first high school entrepreneurship competition last year. We had 131 teams. This year, over 170. But one of the things that impressed me, and this impresses me about Vietnam, is your ability to work in teams. Last year, the winning team was somebody who went to Thread, said, I want to enter the VinUni competition. I have an idea. Who would like to join me? And four students from four different high schools, not knowing each other, joined this team and they won the national competition. One of the other top 10 teams was the same way, a team formed with people that they didn't know. And so I think that the opportunities are unlimited if, in fact, we put our thoughts out there and encourage others to team with us to take advantage of the great tools that are out there that we can go and use to create wealth and prosperity and also a better environment. Any questions at all that I can answer or provide feedback on? I so enjoy talking about this topic because I really enjoy revolutionary thinkers, and we want to encourage more of it. Please put your questions in chat, and I'm glad to read them and talk about it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Mark. And yeah, our students, please, yeah, please, this is a very precious opportunity, and please take this chance to like ask questions to our yeah, Professor Mark, and yeah, exchange your ideas, your concerns, and if you have any business ideas you have in mind, yeah, please share with yeah,
Yeah, there's
with
no
our
crazy
students.
ideas. When in 1989, I came up with the idea of formally available angel groups. And people were asking me in 1989, and I launched in 90, the first uh, angel group that anybody could actually send their plan to, get evaluated, and get in front of angel investors. People were saying back then, why would anybody wealthy want to take the risk of investing in a startup company with no revenue or very little revenue when they can take the same money and put it in the stock market with predictable companies? And I said, you don't become a star company on the stock market overnight. You actually have to get investors, start up just like a baby is born, and grow them over time. And so people want to be able to go to a cocktail party and say they invested in the next, at that time, Microsoft or Apple or Silicon Graphics, and they want to be able to brag that they got on the ground floor of a great opportunity. Okay, so questions. What are some ways to kickstart an entrepreneurial company in a really eye-catching way to attract customers early? Look, there is no venture that's been successful that needed any marketing. And what I mean by that is paid marketing. If you have a good idea, like the people in MindPal do, and they shared it with people by just mentioning it on LinkedIn, and people used their service and told other people, and in 2.5 years, with no marketing dollars, got to closing in on 50,000 users, which is incredible. So I think the way to kickstart any entrepreneurial venture is just try it, send it to your friends to try out. If your friends go and like it, they'll mention it to other people. There was a young man in Canada that realized that people who own dogs wanted to date other people who also own dogs. And so created a platform to do that because I owned a bulldog at the time. And when you're dating someone, either they love dogs or they don't. And if in fact you find somebody that's nervous around dogs, then they're more than likely not a good fit for you. So he realized if I created an app that brought people together that own dogs, they would find commonality and that would make their lives easier because people could understand why they had to rush home after dinner to take care of their dog or why the dog sleeps in the same bed with them. So they really understand that. So again, ways that you can kickstart an entrepreneurial company is through observation, it's through reading. I created the first insurance product to insure small business bank accounts against cyber theft because I read a 6 paragraph story in Forbes magazine that said if you didn't have, if you had a business bank account that got hacked, your money was stolen, the bank wasn't liable. I spoke in Guatemala and heard this guy tell me about something that I ended up creating on a national level in terms of providing financing for small businesses that supplied products to Coca-Cola of Guatemala, and I raised $3.2 billion for it. So you find opportunity for new companies by observing, by reading, by participating, by listening. Factories in Iceland use some kind of technology to make real green energy. Can the whole world do it? So I don't know about this technology, but on face value of the question, why can't they? I mean, why can't people do it? And the only reason that it might not be doable in some areas, either the investment is so expensive or that it can only be done on a small scale, or they haven't figured out how to mass scale something. But I'm sure the people in Iceland want to go and leverage whatever they've done. And so they wanted to get out to the masses. So I think whatever they're doing in Iceland is probably scalable. And if they haven't scaled it yet, they will find partners that will help them scale the business. How to create and brainstorm an idea to solve an environmental problem. I find that the best brainstorming is in a short period of time. I've tested with students over the last few years that if I give them a half an hour to 40 minutes to come up with an idea, that they are very good at coming up with great ideas, writing out a phenomenal presentation, and be able to show it to myself and their classmates. If I give them a week, the ideas they come up with are weak. That It's not about a pressure thing. It's a matter of how do you sit down with a group of people and start talking about ideas by saying, what have you seen in this area? What have you read? Have you listened to any podcasts? Let's talk to AI and give AI parameters about what we're doing and ask AI for some feedback to find out if people have done anything like it. So I think that brainstorming you can do either with a group by sharing ideas based on experiences and observation, or you can do what I do a lot, which is type into AI what I'm looking to do and getting feedback from AI. I'm launching this AI unicorn launchpad. And I've basically been asking as I've done each iteration of the plan, tell me where I've come up short. Tell me if this is better than what venture capitalists are doing now. Tell me how I should alter it. And now it's allowed me to really come up with a super solid plan. I did the same thing for high school entrepreneurship competition. I write the first idea out of my head, and then I have AI challenge me on this. Here's one. I received a question from the audience. When presenting marketing strategies to angel investors, how to avoid listing the possible strategies, but telling them it's suitable and effective. Look, whatever marketing strategy you have, they want to know who is the check writer, who is the user, and who is the influencer. And they want to know how you're going to communicate to each of those groups and what tactics that you're going to use. So I found when I've raised money or helped clients raise money that if I had a spreadsheet and it showed at the top who is the check writer, who is the user, who is the influencer, what is my messaging for each group, and what tactics I'm using for each group, that helped investors totally understand what I thought would be most successful in terms of generating more sales in the most cost efficient way. Um, the technology changes day by day, and I feel overwhelmed. How can I help myself update and develop a solid understanding of these changes? I actually found that AI was very good at doing this, and there's a few things. One is I ask AI what new technologies and changes by specific industry or field or country or region. I asked that question too. I also asked what uh, what people, especially futurists, I like reading futurists, people who are looking down the line, and I ask them what futurists cover these certain industries that I can read what they write or listen to their podcast. I listen to a lot of different podcasts. So I think if you're looking for technology changes day by day, you can also go on Google Alert, but you can type this in every day. You can also have AI send you updates all the time about what's going on. You can ask it to list the top 10 people who think the most about a particular topic or service. What expected technologies or services are going to be in demand in the future in 2030 or 2040? I don't know the answer to that question because nobody even knew AI was going to be in the palm of our hand 3 years ago. But I think there's one thing that we do know, and that is education is becoming more and more important as a way to develop a competitive advantage and be able to take advantage of all the new technologies out there. So I think that My big concern is that AI becomes so smart that humans can compete against them, and that robotics become so good that jobs that they thought for plumbers and electricians that are safe disappear. So I think my own biggest concern here is making sure that we develop technologies that create opportunity, not reduce opportunity for mankind, because otherwise we're going to enter into a period of chaos in 2030 to 2040 if in fact we're not doing planning now to go and teach people how to use these technologies, but where they can add more value and they won't lose their jobs, and that people will want to employ them because they're adding additional value. So I think we don't know what those technologies are going to be, but we do know that they're going to fall into the AI and robotics category, and that they're going to be super wealthy people. They're going to want to um, run their businesses in an efficient way where they don't have to hire human beings. And I think that we have to protect ourselves in the future against this, because there will be mass chaos as people are frightened and worried about how they're going to take care of themselves. So I think we need to be thinking about technologies and evaluate them by if they create jobs and opportunity, that if they're able to teach us how to do new things that will allow us to have an exciting, fulfilling professional careers, and at the same time be able to take care of ourselves during the time we are alive and on this planet. Any other questions for me? I so enjoyed these questions, and I hope I did a good job of responding to you. I read things, observe things, and listen to the smartest people. I have a podcast called The Best Business Minds, where I listen in to authors from around the world, and you can find it on Spotify or go to YouTube and listen to these interviews. And I also created another podcast called Asian Founders and Funders, also found on Spotify and YouTube, that allow you to hear when entrepreneurs think is the future over the next 5 to 10 years in different industries. So I thank you for taking the time to listen to me. If there's any final questions, I'm glad to answer them if you put that up.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor, yeah, Mark, for such yeah, insightful and intellectual stimulating presentation to all of our students today. Yeah, and I think that due to the time limit, I think that we have like one last question for students, if you have any.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the one thing I would encourage all of you to do is I know a lot of people are afraid of risk and failure. Great companies aren't built without risk and failure. Mr. Vong, who founded Ving Group, told all of us in a fireside chat that he went bankrupt 3 times. Now you think bankrupt once would be enough to scare you off, but he's been bankrupt 3 times, and now he's one of the richest men in the world. Henry Ford built the Ford Motor Company and also failed many times. Domino's Pizza, which many of you eat, he had 37 or 40 failed pizza places before Domino's struck. So again, I encourage you not to be afraid of failure, to embrace it, learn from it, and take risk.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, actually, yeah, our students, if you have any more questions, I just have one, yeah, I save one question, my questions to you. Yeah. Uh, and we are also because I heard in your presentation you mentioned about Gojek as well. So, but like Gojek did dominantly in Indonesia and other Asian countries, but like in Vietnam, they did it in about like 6 years and then they exited. They couldn't go on in Vietnam. So, like in your opinion, like a company like Gojek, when they expand to other countries, like what factors in such countries or cities they need to bear in mind? like so that they
Well,
can like expand the business successfully. Yeah.
and by the way, I'm giving all of you my LinkedIn so you can link in with me, and I would love to connect with all of you. Look, at the end of the day, any of these companies are expanding are looking at the numbers purely to start with. They're looking, is there a big enough market for this opportunity? Are there too many competitors? Are there too many entrenched competitors? Can we offer something different? That means Uber is not here because you have Lyft, I mean, Lyft. You have Grab, Zan, and B, and I think there's one other person in this space. They're looking at, can we break into the market? Can we offer something that is a little bit different than we see? Or maybe there's enough expats in a particular country that there'll be a demand initially from the expats that will virally spread in that particular country. There are folks who decided, you know what, I'm not going to go and try to break into this country or this particular market because one, there's too many competitors. Two is that you have to have very strong political connections to break in, to smooth the process of getting licensing and all the other types of things. So I think it's not just about the money, it's also about what kind of connections do you need and will you be embraced by the market when you come in. If you look at Starbucks, Starbucks is only successful in areas of the city where a lot of tourists go because they're familiar with Starbucks. But Starbucks here is like an also run company. People prefer Highlands, my Cafe, and others over Starbucks. In fact, Starbucks looks very tired looking when you go by their shops, and you don't see a lot of people in them like you see in the other well-known brands in Vietnam.
Yeah, thank you. And like in terms of the like macroeconomics factors, so would there be like any particular factors that we also need to bear in mind, like the
Well,
policies or laborers and others? Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what I was mentioning before that governments do factor in. I mean, as you can imagine, someone trying to break into the Vietnam market with electric car, like the Chinese or American Tesla, uh, there's actually kind of being built up of a wall to protect Vingroup and VinFast because that's the homegrown company, and they want to see that succeed. Why? Because there's so many jobs created here, quality jobs that are created, and they want to be proud to have our own standard bearer in the electric car business. So I think that any market you're entering, you have to see who the politicians are getting behind and how much investment has occurred locally to that. Because I even saw in Panama that a Colombian company created the first indoor mall in Panama, but they didn't allow other Panamanian families to invest. And so Panamanian families invested in a competing mall, and within 5 years, that mall was vacant, and everybody moved over to the Panamanian mall. So I think it was a lesson learned that if you're not involving the locals in being able to financially participate and uh, get some of the success of that investment, it's going to be very hard to go and break into markets for sure. So that's the microeconomics and also um, the training of people. You know, Vietnam has a competitive advantage over Cambodia and others because we have so many trained engineers and computer scientists. I think we're number 4 in the world in terms of training computer scientists and engineers, hence why Intel and Nvidia and others want to move into Vietnam. So you're looking at, is there a trained workforce that can help exploit that market and be successful in a positive way?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mark, for such like insightful sharing for our students. yeah, tonight. I think it's really worthwhile for us, for students, also for us. And yeah, on behalf of Junior Star Business Club and also our students, yeah, I would like to sincerely thank you for your sharing. And also I like to say thank you to all the teachers and students for spending your night with us. And yeah, I believe that the students are preparing for our competitions or also like thinking of any business ideas at the moment. Yeah, they have taken away meaningful lessons on like how to analyze the complex situations and also identify opportunities and like know like how to find the ideas like from other things around us, from the news, from the podcast, from anywhere. Yeah, so they can take the identify the opportunities from disruptions and also think long term, yeah, for in an like ever changing economy. So yeah, thank you once again, now, Professor Mark Kramer, for your sharing, and I truly hope that we have the honor to welcome you back one day in the future for such sharing, like which is really exciting, impactful, inspiration.
Oh, it was my pleasure. I mean, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm also starting my own ventures all the time. So I'm just like all of you. And I came to Vietnam, and a lot of my friends back in the States, oh my God, why are you going to Vietnam? Especially at that time, I was 63, and now I'm turning 65 February 1st. And I say, what's the risk? There's only upside of me experiencing a totally different environment, interacting with people. And I can tell you, the smartest move I ever made was taking the risk to come to Vietnam and be able to interact with amazing entrepreneurs, educators, just everyday people. Uh, I'm so glad. It's probably the smartest thing I ever did in my life was actually leave Philadelphia and change my whole, especially professional experience, and move to Vietnam. So anytime you have a chance to go and experience a different culture, you've got to take advantage of it, because that's going to make you stronger, more successful, even if you do it on a part-time basis, if you do it on a full-time, or you decide, I just want to work for a large company, you'll move up quicker by the fact that you were willing to take on problems that everybody else ran away from, not just walked, but ran away from because they thought it would hurt their career. Coming up with new ideas and products and services, especially either on your own or for a company, when other people are running away, that's where you make your mark, and that's why people want to hire you and invest in you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, for like really like which is really like moved and inspirational, like advice for our youngsters, our youth.
I hope
Yeah,
they all connect with me on LinkedIn and that
yeah.
you share it with the rest of your
Mhm.
ecosystem, because I'm glad to connect with everybody and for them to send me their ideas. And if I can be helpful in terms of giving feedback,
Mhm.
I would love to be able to do that with
Yeah,
them. So I just think it's an amazing experience. You guys do such a great job of encouraging our future entrepreneurs, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you once again, and we do hope that we will like welcome you back one day. Yeah. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Mark, and thank you, teachers, parents, students. And we hope that you have a great experience ahead in our competition with such like practical knowledge and also the experience from and advice also from Mark. Yeah, we wish you all the best for the competitions also your exams. Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody. Have a great rest of your week.
Thank you. Good night.